So Tom, digging further into customer experience, what do you think retailers will need to do to keep shoppers at the center of focus?
Yes, it's important to really take a pause and sort of not think about your operation, your business, which is always important, but take a step back from those things and actually think um, as a customer would think. Um, what is it that they have to sacrifice? What kind of compromises they have to make now because of the situation and all these difficulties that they basically have to go through just to travel. So oftentimes it is going to be a compromise um, between safety and comfort, between what used to be a wow experience and what is now just acceptable have to. Um, these are the things that customers will feel. They will make those sacrifices for the sake of traveling to point B for a specific need. So it is going to be very important for anybody in the service industry adjacent to travel, or if you happen to be in the airport, to take those things into consideration, because these passengers will have enough to worry about. The last thing that they want to worry about is your little thing that, or service that you're going to deliver with yet additional difficulty for them. So the general recommendation would be to basically assess and evaluate those things that are going to be pain points for these customers, and try to eliminate as much of them as possible to the degree that's possible. And I think the customers would actually appreciate that. They obviously know it's a difficult situation, but they would appreciate those things. One interesting example I could bring up that actually sort of redesigns the contact inside the physical environment in the retail environment is Uniqlo. So Uniqlo actually launched this retail experience or shopping experience called Do Not Disturb Shopping, where you actually can take a tag and hang it on your cart or your shopping bag that says "Do Not Disturb." What that means is that customer does not want any sales associates to approach them and to offer them some help, service, or et cetera, et cetera. So if they actually need assistance, they would come to that sales associate and ask for it, but they do not wish to be approached. And that is done partially because they recognize that shoppers are concerned about crowded spaces and people they don't know. So out of respect to these customers, they create this do not disturb kind of an environment just to let you shop in peace. So that's just one example. Obviously, in airports, it's going to be difficult to avoid crowds that you don't want to interact with. Example of that would be the way they're currently handling seating arrangements inside airplanes. So imagine this: you go through the entire check-in process, boarding process, where you're keeping self-distance, and then you end up on a plane where you have to sit right next to the person in the adjacent seat. So despite all this talk about self-distancing inside the planes, actually airlines are not vacating the adjacent seats. They're actually going to fill up those seats with passengers. So that means there's going to be a guy or girl next to you. So obviously you're not going to have enough space to sort of have that self-distancing. So in those kinds of situations, obviously people are going to feel nervous. They're not going to feel comfortable. So there's not much you can do. But in places where you can do it, obviously you have to respect self-distancing rules, not only for the sake of compliance because somebody told you, but also out of respect for people's potential feelings, because they're still scared. They're still scared. They're still avoiding crowds. And in fact, as we know, in countries like Spain, UK, and other places where they had massive amount of infection, this level of fear is actually in the high double digits. So you would have to respect that. And so design your physical spaces and your experiences in such a way that creates space and doesn't freak people out. And that's going to be part of the new shopping experience.